This is reposted.
Today we're looking at a quote from the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. He says, most people will choose unhappiness over uncertainty, which I think is kind of clear on people are more happy in what they know is going to happen versus taking a risk. And my question to you is like, at what point do you put your happiness over security? Like you teach kids, you have to persevere, don't quit. But like when you become an adult, everyone's like, well, if you don't like your job, you should quit. So at what point do you make that switch? Like what point is the perseverance not worth it?
I might have said this a time or two, but I'm a 5'10" white guy from the suburbs who had parents that loved him and has a great system around him. So it is very easy for me to go for happiness, to go for uncertainty and risk my happiness. I saw this quote and I was like, yeah, man, I've never not done that. But imagine you were someone who was raised on the street by a crazy mom who was a hippie and had all sorts of damage in your life. It would be hard for you to risk even leaving someone who's beating you to go to do something else. And I would say this, like, for instance, I like this example. Back in the Serengeti, where Original Man was sitting in the teepees.
Bingo
and
square.
Yeah, thank you. And like, this lady is getting beat by her husband and she's thinking like, hey, if I just go over that hill, maybe there's a tribe over there that will take me. But that tribe over there might very well just be a tribe of cannibals and eat her. So she'd rather stay and get beaten than go get eaten.
So is the takeaway that don't change anything because it might be worse?
No,
like
I'm just saying, it's in a perfect world, we all change because we want to change our situation, but we all have lots of baggage that we have to deal with to be able to move forward in that. That's all I'm saying. I think you just got to kind of figure that out. And lots of people don't understand why they're stuck in it. It's because they got baggage they have to deal with. That's all.
Right. There's the understanding, the baseline that everyone has different levels of comfort with being able to take risk or ability to take risk. But once you establish that baseline, like even if you have the ability and the financial wherewithal to be able to take a risk, I say most people still don't do it because they choose the certainty over the risk.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think like I was kind of reading about this a little bit. They're like, we've all risked something. At some particular point, we've had to make decisions. And we have a lot more successes in our life than we think about. And if we go back and just think about where we've been successful when we challenged ourselves, it gives us more confidence to do it the next time.
Yeah, but I guess back to my original question on like, when do you cross over from being a kid that needs to try something new to being an adult that like you don't take the risk? Because I remember the first time I would go to a new sport, like the first time I ever stepped at a football practice field, I was nervous. I didn't want to do it because it was uncertain and I would choose maybe sitting home. But that changes at some point in life when you're, I guess, maybe someone's not making the decision for you anymore.
I mean, we could argue that some people never make that change, right? They just roll, like some people graduate, go to school, graduate, have the same job for their entire life. Some people never get married. Some people live in the closet and never, ever make change. I just think it's a confidence thing. Once you get small victories under your belt, then you're able to kind of gain momentum to give yourself the confidence to do it maybe in a big way or a little way.
Yeah. I mean, do you see that with your kids that like you make them do stuff they don't want to do, and then on the other side of it, they're happier? Or
It's funny. I don't think they have that mental. Maybe it's just my kids. They can't put that together yet. Like I don't like every single time when they try to do something, I've never heard of one to go like, oh, you remember that time I hated ice skating and then I jumped on thing and I loved ice skating, which has happened in our house. Those just like never reappear when they need to.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a positive thing to think about that you can have more happiness within the uncertainty, but as you point out, some people can't do that.
I saw 60 Minutes this weekend, and it was Jerry Seinfeld, and they were interviewing him. Jerry was raised by two orphans, mother and a father, but they were both orphans. Crazy story. And he basically said they left him alone. Like he literally had to make his own, just everything. He had to do it on his own. And that really has formed, like he's not afraid to get on stage because he was never afraid to try anything because he had to do everything on his own. And I just thought it was like a fascinating worldview of where we all come from, right? And I see this quote, and I want everybody to be unhappy, but sometimes, man, our systems that we're in just don't allow us to make that jump.
Yeah, but you can take your situation and change your attitude towards it. Like, be no matter what, I think someone has it worse than you. No matter what, it's your perspective. And I think if you say there's no way I'm going to succeed, this coach doesn't like me, I need to quit, or my boss doesn't like me, I need to quit. Maybe it's true, but also maybe change your perspective.
No, too. And, I was thinking about, like, we don't live in a very big house. And so we do lots of spring cleaning. Like, seems like we're taking stuff out of our house like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always like, where did we get all the stuff? We don't even have any room. Where do we get it?
Yeah.
It's like clutter. Like, you just get used to things in your life. You don't need it there, but it's just safe to be there. And then when you look deep and go like, oh, I don't need that, you can get rid of that. It's sort of like that stuff that we're hanging on to in our old system. Like, I don't need that. I could go cross the Rubicon. I could do it.
Yeah. Well, if you want Larry to spring clean your house, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for Unhappy Larry saying thanks for stopping by.